We got some good news for Pocket yesterday. 2 stars are going to be able to be traded eventually, but they still don't update their cards. So let's go ahead and spin this wheel again. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Is that Lunala? No, it's Lanturn. Okay, that's a good one. So, Lanturn EX, interesting Pokemon, has 150 HP, which is actually the most that any electric EX Pokemon has in the game thus far. I still don't think that's very tanky though, so we'll get into that later. It takes 3 energy, 2 which is colorless, and it does 80 damage, but that damage can be multiplied if you get a paralysis, which you have a 50% chance of doing so if you flip heads, and then you can actually make it into 160 of uninterrupted damage if your opponent can't figure out how to deal with that. Also, if you flip tails, you confuse them, which is interesting. Not very many Pokemon in this game do anything if you flip tails, so that's interesting that it does. Now, what I decided to do to buff this card is actually give it 30 more HP. This Pokemon is historically very tanky, so I decided to give it some extra HP to make it feel that way. 150 doesn't feel very tanky to me in this meta. So that was that buff, but the second buff I decided to do is actually give it an ability. I don't want every card I do this with to have an ability, but I think that this one would actually help this one out a lot. So his ability is called Tantalizing Lure, and it says if this Pokemon has 2 or less energy attached and it is attacked, the attacking Pokemon becomes confused. Now, confusion is something that you can retreat out of, you can heal with PCL. There's so many ways to get around confusion. You can also just flip heads, just get lucky, right? So I don't think it's too big of a deal, but this could propel Lanturn to getting the 3 energy that it does need, and it gives it something to do. Besides that, I would probably have given it an attack to do or something like that, which could also have been done. But I decided to make it have an ability so that it can feel tanky and it can take some hits, because I think Lanturn just needs a little bit of help. I didn't want to give it any more damage because 80 damage is good for an attack that can be ramped up to 160 if you paralyze them. So let's keep that in mind, that this Pokemon I think is decent, but it needs a little bit of help. So do you think this is a cook, or do you think this is bad? Let me know in the comments.